Hello.
Hello. Hey, folks. Welcome back. Exercise 3, Contemplating Your Goals with God. One of the reasons why I love this is we get to kind of start to explore the desires of our hearts with this. And it's not something that we're doing by ourselves. We're doing it in a prayerful place with the Lord. This is really an area where Metanoia Catholic kind of distinguishes itself from a lot of the other coaching programs that are out there, where they might just say, hey, what do you want? What do you want with your life? Well, it sounds very similar to Aleister Crowley's do what thou wilt, right? But St. Augustine says, love God and do what thou wilt. And that's really what we're seeking to do here. We're seeking not only this, we're seeking to bring to God the desires that we have as we know them, honest as they are, though they may be broken, they may even have a taint of sin that's in them at the moment. We're still going to bring them to God to be purified because He desires to purify our desires and then satisfy them with the bread that truly satisfies. I love this exercise for that. It's very creative. It's very meditative, contemplative. We're using our imagination. We're engaging with all the faculties of our mind, and it's really a great joy.
I would even say it's liturgical
Indeed. How so, Aaron?
because we liken it to the offertory at Mass, how when we bring up this, mere bread and wine to be transformed and transubstantiated into the body and blood of Christ, it's our humility on a platter. It's like, look, this is all we have to give to you.
It's very vulnerable.
Yes,
Yeah.
and He makes the most amazing thing. He gives us Himself from that. And in the same way, we do that with our desires, with our dreams, with our goals. In this exercise, that's what we do. We bring them to Him and we say, look, this is all I've got. And, it's maybe a little dirty and it's not the best looking thing. And I know that you can make it better.
Yeah. Might just be a really lumpy, wet, mushy, muddy thing of clay at that moment. But God can do amazing things. He's the potter, right? The master potter. And He can do incredible things with our little lumps of clay that we bring to Him. Another thing that we like to focus on in this is actually the virtues that we're growing in as we're pursuing the goal. It's not worth pursuing a goal if we're not actually growing in virtue. And why is virtue so important? Well, what virtue does is it actually increases our capacity to receive God's grace, right? God can actually infuse grace in us if we're living in a state of sanctifying grace. And as we're growing in virtue, we're increasing our capacity to actually receive God's grace, which is God's very own divine life. Folks, this is the beatific vision, and we can start to experience little glimpses of it here and now in this world. We can get a foretaste of heaven when we start to pursue our goals and they start to increase our capacity to receive God's grace by growing us in virtue. That's really what we want to be deliberate about with this exercise. And so part of this is certainly writing down our goals and writing them down from a place of future gratitude. Lord, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have blah, whatever your goal is. But we're also being very conscious of the virtues that we're seeking to grow in at this point. Right? And the Lord will oftentimes lay those down on us. Something that helps me out as I'm going through this and identify, say, the virtue of humility. This is something that often comes up. Or the studiousness is something that comes up for me. And I'll start to actually visualize where I can start to manifest that virtue in my life. And I start to think of the day that I have ahead of me and visualize myself actually cracking open a book for 10 minutes perhaps and reading a little bit of it just to grow in that virtue of studiousness. Or just wanting to be more present with my family. That's a goal that I have right now. And so I actually visualize myself creating a space in my day to actually give more time to my family, play with my daughter, talk with my wife. So it doesn't even have to be these grandiose, huge goals that you see, when you pull on, a YouTube coaching video or something like that. People oftentimes get very intimidated, we find, that their goal isn't big enough. Just be honest with what you desire right now and as you understand it, and let God increase your desires and increase your ambition and have it be a virtue of ambition, not a vice of ambition.
Yeah, I see this a lot with coaching. A lot of people don't even give themselves permission to dream or to desire. And so we have, as a practical exercise, we have another worksheet. We call it a workshop because we are going to be training coaches to take people through it as a workshop. But it's called our Unique Call to Sanctity workshop. And it's really just a series of questions that are geared towards finding your gifts, your passions, and your mission, and really how they all overlap one another. So it gives you a little bit more permission to go deeper and get to the root of what kind of sets you on fire, what gives you that joy of life, if you will. Another thing that we have on our membership site is a list of 64 virtues and vices. I think the vices are included in that, but might not be. I think, no, 64 virtues, and then there's counter vices, but we have a list of all of them. So you can refer to them, and that was Father Chad Rippinger did that, and we kind of minimized it and made it smaller so you can print it out in one sheet if you want to use that with your journaling exercises.
Indeed, a great reference. So, folks, what do you desire? That's the question. First question that Christ asked in the Gospels, what do you seek? And if we're living in a state of grace, oftentimes Christ is just looking for that answer. What do you seek? What do you desire right now? Oh, and by the way, if you're looking at your journal and it says exercises 3 and 6, you got a collector's edition. All right, that's going to be all in our first printing run that goes out. It's just a little snafu that didn't get updated when we updated the journal. Enjoy it, folks.
We have a whole podcast on it talking about how we changed this entire journal, like, in a hot minute. And
when we were about to order the first 1,000.
That is why you guys get the collector's edition.
All right.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.